So we are doing Crown e-learning. We have done the first part of it. So to say, today we'll do the second and the concluding part of it. So I will just log in. So the system goes straight to my Crown e-learning. We are still in e-learning static data. We have been able to create modules and create lesson notes against this module. So today we'll be looking at the exam part of this e-learning, which is how to create the online assessment and the theoretical questions. I hope you can hear me clearly, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so
Yes.
just like when we created lesson notes, that we needed to first create the module before we create the lesson notes. For the question and answers, which is the online assessment, the CBT, computer-based test, and the theoretical question here, we first of all create the parameters by which either the CBT or the theory questions will function on. So for us to do that, we need to first of all create those parameters in assessment details. So before we create the CBT or the theoretical question, the first point of call is the assessment details. So let's click on create. So here in assessment details, we are going to specify whether we are creating. So this assessment details guides both the theory question and the CBT. So this is where, looking at these options that are here, these fields, we discover that whatever that happens with those tests is how we set them here. So first thing we have here is the assessment type. So the assessment type, we only have two, which is objective and subjective. So we use the objective to create the alternate answer type of the question. That's the OBJ, the objective type of the question, which is the one we do online. That you select whether it's going to be, the answer is going to be A or B or C. So we use the objective to do that. And we use the subjective to create the theory question. Now we're going to create a CBT for the class we used last time, which is SS1A. So let's set up the parameters here for CBT and for theory questions. Then we'll go create the questions and we use the user login that we have already created for this environment. Then we'll log in to see what we have done. So we are first of all creating the CBT, which we are going to leave the assessment type as the objective. So let's create for maths, for example. Let's name this question paper. Let's name it Maths UAT. Total questions. How many questions are we going to set? Let's set just three questions. And then the total paper marks. What is the overall marks that this three questions is supposed to be, or that the person doing these three questions is supposed to score? Now let's say 60, or let's say 30. So this three questions is going to be over 30, meaning that each question is going to be 10. It's going to have 10 as the total score, that if you get it correctly or rightly, you're going to score 10. Now, randomized question. Do you want the question to come serially, or do you want the system to jumble the question? What I mean by serially, you create the question number 1, question number 2, question number 3. If you leave this place as yes, it means that the person doing the question, the system can bring question 3 as the first question the person is going to solve, and bring maybe question 1 as the second question, just to double the whole thing. Because if you are going to use this thing for exam, and everyone is in a computer hall. Everyone is in their own computer. So the student number A, they started the exam the same time, can be doing question number 30. That is, we set up to 30 questions. Can be doing question number 30, while student B will be doing question number 10. Student C can be doing question number 25. So everything will just be jumbled. So no one student will be able to be doing the same question at the same time. So we are going to leave it as yes, so that thing will be jumbled. But if you set it as no, it means that question 1 is the first question that will appear for the student to do or to solve. Question 2 will be the second question, just serially like that. But I prefer leaving it for the system to bring it at random. Now, question time. This question time, we only have options yes or option no. So if you want the question to be timed itself, that's question number 1 will be 30 minutes. If the person is not able to solve that question in 30 minutes time or in 30 seconds time, as the case may be, then the system will automatically mark that question as solved. So the system will mark it that that person did not get this question correctly. And the system will move on to the next question. We open up the next question for the student to do. So that is what question time. If you set it as yes, that is what it will be. But if you set it as no, then the time you are going to allocate here, time allocated will be for the whole question paper. What I mean, if this place is yes, question time is yes, and you put this is in seconds, allocated time in seconds, you put 30 seconds here. Meaning that each question is going to take 30 questions to be solved. But if you set this place as no, and you put 30 here in seconds, it means that the whole question paper, irrespective of the number of questions that is set on that question paper, the student doing that exam or the test is expected to solve the whole question in 30 seconds. Is that clear enough now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So is that
Yes.
30 seconds per, so it's 30 seconds per question.
Yeah, that is if this question time is yes. If the question time is yes, then it will be 30 seconds per question. But if the question time
But the 30 question is not too small. That time.
Yeah, it's just example. It's just example.
Okay.
if the question time is no,
Okay.
no, then the whole question paper will be for 30 seconds. If the question time
Okay. Okay.
the question time is yes here. If the question, then the time allocated here will be per question. But if the question time is no here, then the time allocated will be for the whole question paper. I think that one is better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we are going to put it as yes because we want the question to be timed per question. Now remember, we are setting only 3 questions here. It means that 30 plus 30 plus 30, that is 90 seconds, 1 hour, 1 minute, 30 seconds is what is expected for this question paper to last. 1 hour, 1 minute, 30 seconds rather. So each question is having 30 seconds each. Now send the result by mail. So do you want after the person or the student doing this test or exam, after he must have finished, click on the finish button, or the time is elapsed and the system automatically ends the session for the exam or the test. You want the sponsor at home to receive the grading information via mail. If you want it so, then you leave this at yes. But if you don't want the person, the sponsor, to get the outcome of the exam via mail, you set it as no. The same thing is applicable here. If you want the sponsor to get the outcome of this exam or the test at home, even immediately the student finishes this exam, you want them to get it by SMS, you leave it as yes. Print result. If you want the option to print the result immediately after the exam, so for the student to have the hard copy immediately, you leave it as yes. But if you don't want that, you set it as no. Now, scoring method. If you're going to use this thing for any meaningful something, maybe to use it as a normal exam that's going to be recorded and be used to grade that student at the end of the term, then you need to specify the scoring method you're going to use. So, are you going to use best attempt score, or are you going to use last attempt score? So, best attempt, it means that if the student should do this test 3 times, so the best outcome, irrespective of whether it is the first attempt, second, or the third attempt, is what you're going to use to score that student. But if it is last attempt, it means that if the student does this test for like 5 times, then you are going to use the last attempt score that he or she did to score the student. So let's leave it as best attempt. Now, we have number of attempts here. Number of attempts, if you look at my screen, say leave field blank for unlimited attempts. So if you want this text or this exam that you are setting up the parameter here, if you want the student to only have 1 attempt, 2 attempts, 3 attempts, then you need to specify. Then if the person logs into the system and attempts this thing for 2 times, then he can't have any other goal for it on the 3rd time. But if you want this, if you just want the student to be using it to, to exercise the brain, so you leave it as number of attempts blank. So you can attempt 50, 100, 1 million times. Anyhow he or she wants it, you can attempt it. Now, if you are setting this place, this number of attempts, if you are setting number of attempts, then that is where this scoring method will now be applicable. This scoring method will be applicable when you are setting this place number of attempts. When you are specifying number of attempts, this scoring method will now be applicable. Whether you are going to use the last attempt or you are going to use the best attempt. But for the purpose of this training and for testing purposes, I choose to leave it blank. So we can log in anytime and attempt this question. Now, available to date. What date do you want this system to still be available in the system? You specify. So after that date, the system automatically moves this assessment from active assessment to expired assessment. So nobody will be able to do this assessment again, unless, of course, you come back to the exam details for the particular exam you are referring to, and you set the number of, and you edit this available to date. You can extend the date, you can extend it, or you can leave it as expired. So let's specify date here. We want this test or this exam to be available to 5th of April 2024. Now, we move over to invigilator code. That should not be a problem, because invigilator code, we are setting the person that's going to supervise this exam. So who is supervising the exam? And who is, okay, yes, now the assessment code. The assessment code. Remember when we are doing the assessment module, we broke down some of those assessments into some 2, some 3, some just based on continuous assessment and the main paper or the major exam. So if you are going to use this for continuous assessment, for classwork, or for any assessment code or assessment you want to use it for, now is the time for you to select the assessment code. Now remember, when we are doing that assessment code, I said we created one that is not used for any calculation in the system, which we call the ungraded assessment. The ungraded assessment. So we said, or rather I said, when we are doing that training, that I create that so that when you are setting up these ones, you can use the ungraded assessment for them so that it will not cause any issue in the calculation of exam scores at the end of the term. So like something like this assessment now, you discover this subject code, we have 5 assessments, or 4 rather, for it. We have continuous, okay, 3 rather for it. We have continuous assessment, then the main exam score. Then we now have the one we name assessment. This assessment, because I'm already conversant with the system, I know this is the ungraded assessment, which we gave 100. So, but I'm not creating it under this subject or any of these assessment codes. I want to create for the class that I've already created a user in that class. That's JSS1A, so that we will not go ahead to be creating too many users. We are just doing training and test. So English, let's look for English for English language. English, that is for JSS 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we use English language continuous assessment exam score. So there is not even this thing here, ungraded assessment for it. Anyway, for the purpose of this test, let's use this. English language continuous assessment select. And what class? All right, employee code. The person handling that subject. Then the class we are creating the assessment for. Now, like I've been saying, I want to create for JSS1A. So if there are another class that is supposed to do this test as well, all you need to do is just to click on Add Class and select the class. Select the class that you want to participate in that assessment. But now I only want this assessment to be for JSS1A, so I delete that. So now all is being equal here. I'll set up the parameters that I want. I create. So I've created that assessment. You can always go back to see that assessment. Now let us create theory question. Like I said before, assessment type we have for theory question, we use subjective. We name it. We name this question paper math creative. I only want to set only 2 questions here. And the total question mark is going to be 40. Randomized question, all these ones they are not really applicable to subjective questions. So you can just leave them the way they are. Just the exam date. Then the vigilator code. So that this entry will be created. The assessment code. we are ready to create. So just note that I'm creating this. I'm setting up for a subjective question or for theory question. So I use subjective instead of objective. So I create this, and that has been created in the system. This March 80 and the 30 question OBJ, March 80, March 82. This is the one we just created. This one. This is the first one we did for objective JSS1, and this is the second one we did for subjective JSS1A. All right, so we are done with assessment details. We can now create the question and answer. Let's get the question and answer, click on create. And what do you need to create question and answer? Now, the subject. Let me go back to the assessment details. For the first one we created, March 80. What subject did we tie it to? March 80. March 80 view. I think we made a mistake there. We are naming something math and we are using assessment code. We are using English for it. We didn't notice. Naming math and we are keeping it under English. Let's change that. All right, so that's done. Let's go back to creating the question. Questions and answers. Math. So the subject we are creating this question under is only what we need. So the question under math. And that is. Now, you discover that we only selected the subject because you have already in the assessment details, you have specified the assessment code, which the assessment code are created in that subject. So when you select the subject here, the system already knows the subject assessment code that are under that subject. So whatever you are creating here will be created under that subject. Now, question type, is it going to be radio question or is it going to be multiple? Multiple means that if you are going to select more than one answer for the question, but you want it to be only one answer, so we leave it as radio question. Now we have selected the subject code. Which class code are we creating this particular question for? Now remember that
JSS1A.
So we select JSS1A. Now, what is going to create, what we are creating now will be, because there are subjects that are done like this math. This math, they are taking math from JSS1A, from JSS1 to JSS3. And they're taking math from SS1 to SS3. So if you don't specify the class here, it means that whatever you are creating here, any class that is taking math as a subject will be able to do that question. But that is not what we want. So if you create it now, it means that from JSS1 to JSS3, SS1 to SS3, we have access to this question. But that is not what we want. That is why we are selecting the class code, so that this question will be typed only this class, irrespective of the class that is doing math. SS1, SS2, SS3, SS2, SS3. They can't have access to this particular exam or test. So it's only the student that are in JSS1A that will have access to this question. Did we get that Explanation clear? Hello, did we get the explanation clear? Why we need to specify the class? Am I alone? Samuel? Pastor Phineas?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think I lost you a bit.
Oh, okay. Samuel, how about you? Are you back?
Hello?
Samuel, yes, are you back now?
Yep.
So I was explaining why we need to specify the class.
Okay.
So I was saying that this mathematics is tied to so many classes in the school. In fact, all the classes in the school, they do mathematics. So we need to specify the class that we are preparing this question and answers for. If not, all the classes we have access to this question and answer. When they log into the system with their username, they can now see questions that are set for JSS1, which is not a good design. So now we need to specify the class so that only the students in JSS1 can have access to these questions under mathematics. Is that clear enough?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So now this is where we type the question or we copy the question and paste it. And these are where we specify the answers to the question. So I think I have one in my, anyway, let's type. Just give me a quadratic equation.
3x minus 2x squared.
No, that would be unsolvable.
How do we know the
I
answer?
mean, that's a quadratic equation.
Yeah,
This one is this was
I think that would be it. Yeah, that would be it.
That's advanced.
No, really, I think that would be very unsolvable because the coefficient of the second function here shouldn't have as in an index. You don't have an index. You can only put an index here.
yeah. I think this. I mean, if I'm being picky, I think this equation is unsolvable.
This one
No, it's
is
not. Sorry, no, it's not.
nothing. No, you can either have what is it, a fraction, not a fraction and a whole number. I don't think it is. All right, we are all mathematics students. So let's give it options. Let's give the options. Let's give them let's try to fix possible answer. X equal to 3, y equal to 4. X equal to 5. Y equal to X equal to 2. Y equal to 2. X equal to 5. Y equal to 10. And the last one, X x equals to b over 3. All right, so let's specify the one that's going to be the same. We didn't solve it, so we don't know. So let's just put an answer to it. All right, let's say the last one will be the correct answer here. Answer E. So now, once we tick the answer, the system knows that yes, this one, if the student select any of the options apart from the option E, is going to score 0. But the option E, according to what we specified in assessment test, is over 10, is 10 marks. So we create this. That is created. Let's create another question. First of all, specify the subject, math. Mathematics. So give me a question in mathematics.
Find the at what point does the line y is equal to 2x plus 3 intercepts with sorry, I have to see it written out. At what point is line y is equal to 2x plus 3 intersect with the x origin with the y-axis, sorry.
Line y?
At what point is line y is equal to 2x plus 3 intersects with the y-axis?
Intersect with y-axis?
Yes, the y-axis.
All right, so give us possible answers. Answer number E.
So the answer is 0, 3.
0, 3?
Yeah. 0, 3, because it's coordinates, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe 0, 3 over 2 is 1. Mm-hmm. 0, 5. Do we have to have 4 options, or can you just solely customize the amount of options per question?
Yeah, you can leave it as 4, you can leave it as 3.
Okay.
Try to fill it up. Okay, let's just leave it at 4 options. So let's say the option will be B. The answer will be option B. Created that. Then the next and the last question for subject code, mathematics. Class. Pastor Famous, can you help us with one?
Oh, I'm not a mathematics student. I did mathematics last in 1996. I can't even remember anything.
It can just be simple linear algebra. Or just a mathematical question like what's 5 plus 10 or something like that.
I can't remember anything. Theology has taken mathematics from my head.
We can do just something like what's 3 squared, or I don't know if you have the squared notation, if you could do that. Or just something like that. Like what's 2 times 5 plus 2 minus 10 divided by something long, so you'd have to use BidMass or something like that.
BidMass.
Yeah.
Please let Pastor Vincent help me out.
Yeah. I just love the question. I don't know why. I love the question. Maybe because I did electrical electronics.
Okay.
Because I did that. You know, somewhere you don't have that in your system. You don't
Sorry?
have that those notations in your system. You don't have them.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have them, but you can do the formatting in Microsoft Word. So
Copy over.
if we want to take such a question, we set it in Word, copy it over to this place.
Would you like me to do that quickly?
Don't worry, when you are doing your own listing, you can do that.
Okay.
Yeah. I even want to put square root here, but there's no square root in my system. So in the keyboard setting. Okay, I think that will do it. I'm not just going to stress my brain for any answer. Just put anything beyond there. All right. So we create that. That has been created now. So let's go back to our assessment details of this. We have math, UAT, objective questions. The second point of call after creating your objective question, you come to this place. Look at the assessment details. Go to question mapping. Now look at the one we are creating it under. We created those questions under. We go to question mapping. We map the questions. Now you see that we have our three questions we just
questions.
You see them 3 questions, paper question is 30 marks, and the system has already given the weighted marks, which is 10, 10, 10. All you need is just to fix it. But in a situation where the system did not give the accurate weighted marks, you fix it in yourself. Then tick them. Then there are some situations whereby you will still see questions that you did not create here. So if those questions were created under mathematics or other classes, there are situations whereby you not only see the ones you create, you see the ones you didn't create. So we are having those issues when we are not specifying the classes. That's why we now specify the class, so that when you are doing that under a class, you are likely to see only the questions that you are creating for that class. So in those situations whereby you are seeing the questions more than what you created, just pick the ones that are relevant to you, click on save. Then the system will map them to that class. So we have done this, we are saving now, which we have done. We go back. Now remember, we need to publish it for the student to be able to see it. So we click on publish. With SMS, with mail, I've already explained it. Yes. And that is done successfully. Now I want to create for this one. Math UAT subjective now and not objective. For the same JSF1 two questions that are going to have 40 marks. We go back to our question and answer. And
but where you have 40,000.
This is 40.0000.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm watching on the phone, so
total paper marks.
okay. Okay.
No, when we are creating this, or when we are setting up the parameters, we said we want this question, the two of them, to be over 40 marks.
40. Okay.
We're having 40 marks here. So we're going to take that question now. Instead of question, we use the question and answers to create for objective question. But we use the theoretical question to create for subjective question. So we go to theory question, click on create. Now, which subject do we want to create this question for? We go to subject. Remember, we are creating it under mathematics again. This is mathematics here. Select mathematics. Now, let us set the first question. Now, I can say derive the formula for finding the area of a rectangle. Since it's going to be theory, so theory, you are not expected to select any answer. It's something that you're going to solve. There are the formula for finding the area of a rectangle. We create that. Then we'll have to create another one, new record, select the subject. So we have created question 1, mathematics. All right. So we set another question. Okay, the diagram. The diagram explains the concept of hearing. All right, so that's the question 2. Remember, we are setting only 2 questions, and each of them is going to have 20 marks. So it's going to be over 20. So we have set the correct question here. We go back to our assessment details, update. We are dealing with Matthew 82, which is what we are creating that under. Now we go to question mapping again. Now you see what I meant. Now we are having 10 questions here. So we are only interested in these 2, the number 9 and number 10. So we now
tick it.
But we don't only tick it. We're only having 1 as the weighted score, which is not supposed to be. Each of them is going to be 2.
Okay.
So it's 520 here, then we now tick this 2. Then we now save. We go back. We go back. We go back to the UAT. We click on publish. Yes. And and that has been published. Now, let's go back before we come to the transaction and the e-learning. Let us go and see the works we just did. Sorry. So we go back. Let's log out. Let's go to Crown CBC. Remember the username of yesterday or the other day. I think that is it, right?
Yeah, I put it in the chat. It was a test user one parent, capital letters.
UAT for the
Yeah.
UAT test one.
I think test
Oh, it's a
user.
different, sorry. That's something else.
Okay.
UAT test one.
Yeah, UAT Crown. Yeah, UAT test one and test $user one password.
Yeah, we are in. So let's look at the theory question now. We created under mathematics, right?
Yes.
All the whole questions are listed here. So we just go straight to math. Math UAT, this is the one we created now. Now, see why you need to specify this
the math.
So the person or the student can just take a piece of paper and solve this on a piece of paper while looking at the questions on the system, or he or she can print it. Can print this and do the needful when the need arises. So we've seen how to create the theory question and we can see it here. Now let's go back to online assessment. Online assessment, the one we created now. Look at the math UAT. Is that so? Are we still with me?
Yes, sir.
This is the one we created now. Total question is 3. Total paper mark is 30. All right, so let's do the exam. So at what point is this, that? I think this is the one we selected as. Yes, before we go ahead, see that this question is timed. We set it to the question time. Can you see it here? Are we there?
Yeah.
So we see that the question is randomized. This was the second question that we set. This was not the first one. You see, after the timeout, I'm now on question 2. Did you see what happened? Is anybody seeing my?
Yes.
After 30 seconds, I wasn't able to select any answer. So I got to question 2. And the question 2 is not really question 2 I set in the system. The system is just bringing up
random.
So let's select this one before we find out again. Click on next. This. I've already missed question 1. So I'm done with all my tests for question 3. I remember I cannot go back because the question is time. I didn't the question time. I can use this video. So I cannot go back. So finish and submit. Do you want to submit? Yes. That's what I want to do. Now, because we set to print immediately after the exam, now we have and print. I remember we set it for the sponsors to receive SMS and mail. So they have already received in their mailbox. and the SMS box. So we only score we. It's not me. We only score 10. Carrying this responsibility. All right. So that now let's go back.
Can I ask, is there a way to keep the results confidential and release at the same time? So after they
Yeah.
complete the test, they don't find the answer.
Please, pardon. Let me hear you. Let me get you right.
Is there a way to keep the test result confidential so that when they finish the test, they don't find the results?
Okay, I mean the students.
Uh-huh.
For now, the design is that when after finishing the exam, they see the result immediately. You don't need to wait for any further date for them to know to see. They see it immediately. The system grades them and they see it immediately. And talking about confidentiality, it's only them, the teachers, and their sponsors at home that have access to the result. The sponsors at home can only see the result if, when you are setting up in assessment details, you set to receive SMS at yes and to receive mail at yes. But if you set it as no, it will only be them and their teachers that will have access to the result. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And don't forget, we also have the assessment review. We have the assessment review now. So this person can always go back and look at how he or she fared in this particular test or exam. So this is the question paper now. So the question number 1, which actually came as question number 2, we got it correctly. Now the question number, which actually came as question number 1, we timed out. We couldn't select anything. Now the question number 3, the correct answer was A, but we selected a different answer. So you can print this answer sheet anytime, any day. All right, so having done that, let's go back to the main dashboard of Crown System. Back to Crown System login. All right, so e-learning. What do we see in e-learning transaction? We only see CBT access login. Now, let me show us something. Now, this CBT login here, account CBT login, I will use to gain access as students to do our tests, see lesson videos and all that. You can decide to place a restriction on it place a charge on it, that there's a certain amount that you pay before you can log in or have access to that system. And you set that in administration module. Now, it's taking us back to administration module again today. Gradually, we are looking at, so when we come to administration module proper, all those things won't be new things to us. Administration state, we have here, we set up the parameters that guide all the modules. You look at this place, the administration param, billing param, e-learning param, and all that. So our area of interest today is e-learning param. So here you see CBT print result, yes. So that is why when we set that print result in that assessment details, we can be able to print the result. If it is no here, you can't be able to use that functionality there. Send the CBT enable result SMS, yes. CBT enable result email, yes. So because these things are set as yes here, that is why we're able to use those functionalities there in the e-learning proper. Now, what brought us here is enforced debtor check and CBT access payment check. If this enforced debtor check is yes, then if this student is owing the school, he or she will not have access to the Crown CBT. Are we with me?
Yes.
So if he's owing the school via the billing module, he or she will not have access to Crown CBT if this place is set as yes. Because but the set as no, that is why we're able to just create that user and just go into it. Now another step to it is CBT access payment. Now, if you want to charge for that CBT, this is where you set it. You set this place as you, then you set the CBT unit access. But whatever you set here, if you set 20 here, it means that each asset the person is going to have to return CBT, he or she is going to pay 20 naira, $20, 20 pounds, 20 whatever currency that you are using in the system. Did we get that now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So CBT access payment, if this is set as yes, you are charging for the CBT, and this is the amount per unit asset that you are going to have access to the system. You specify that here. So let's leave this as 1. Now, this is set as no. Let's leave it that way. So that is what brought us to this place, e-learning transaction. That is why we have this CBT access check. So if you are charging for the CBT, then you are going to capture the information of any student that pays his or her due to have access. So when I, as a student, am a user of Crown System Solution in the school, and I want to have access to the Crown CBT so that I can do my exam, watch my training video, and do theoretical questions or look at my lesson notes. So I come to the school, or my parents come to the school with my money, or they transfer to the bank. They make any of the payment gateways that we saw in the billing model. They have made the payment. They come to the school, then the administrator of the school, or the bursar, or the accountant will now come. What is the name of your child that you are making payment for? My parents say so, or I say so. They capture my name here. Then access option. Are we charging per unit? Or is the payment going to be a one-off that we pay, we have unlimited access? Or the money I'm going to pay, is it going to be time-based? Is it going to be time-based? That is why these access options are here. Now, units of payment access. Let's leave it as this. If you are selecting, and remember, access is done with whatever currency it is per asset. Now I'm going to pay 20 pounds, $20. Then you see that number of assets I'm going to have is going to be 20. I rephrase. If I leave access option as unit of payment access, and my unit of payment access is 1 per access, and I'm going to pay 20 or 30 here, let's say 30, then I'm going to have 30 number of access to the Crown CBT. Is that clear enough?
Yeah.
All right. Is someone still with us?
Yeah, I'm still with her.
Is that clear?
Sorry.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. Sorry, please. The 30, the number of access that is 30, is it within the term, or?
It will not be, it's not necessarily within the term.
Okay.
Until you exhaust that 30 number of access.
It is exhausted. Okay.
That is for unit access option unit. But if this unit of access here is, you know that if you are paying 30, you know that if you are paying 30, then the number of access is change to 3 and not 30. But because it was 1 here before, that is why we had 30.
Okay.
Now, payment date is here. This is the date in the system, so that is here. This is a payment effective date. The date the money is going to start counting. You specify here. So all these ones are not. They are inconsequential for now. Now we have another option there. Unlimited access. Unlimited access is maybe at the beginning of the term, when you come, you pay your money, and they record that you have paid your money here. Maybe you paid 50 bucks. You see that number of access is now no longer active. Number of access is not active again. So now you are having only you can have access to the system maybe to the end of the term, or to the end of the session, or to the end of whenever, unless they come back and they beat this and they say no, you are not going to have it again. They can do unlimited access for the term. So at the end of every term, you come back to review what you have already done here. Now we have the third option here, which is limited by date. Then once you do this limited by date, this access end date becomes active. So you can, irrespective of they are paying 50 bucks, so you can say you have access to the system to the end of the term, then you fix the end date of the term here. The end of the term, you fix it here. The term is going to end by 5th of April, 5th of 04/2023. So you put it here. So after that 5th of April, then this person will not have access to the CBT again, unless he or she comes and make another commitment to this regard. Then you now shift the date to the new date, and the person will continue to have access to the system. Now, do we have any question there on this access option? This access option controls every other thing that happens underneath. Do we have any question there?
No.
No.
So that is that. Now, the last in e-learning is e-learning report. So unlike the other report that we saw, the e-learning report is peculiar to e-learning. So we have the live table here as well, but we have mass inquiry. So you can do the mass inquiry as a teacher after you must have set whatever you said, and the students must have done whatever they have done. Then you can come here and do mass inquiry for your students. Then this one now is by students. I've forgotten the admission number that we use. I think it's this guy that we use to create that student user. Now let's start. Yes, it is him. Now I see he has only done one assessment in the system. Now I see that the teacher has access. He knows what the person has done to a number of attempts. So the teacher has the information from the front end as well. So this is exactly the same thing we saw in assessment review. Not only the student that has access to it, the teacher has access to it. He knows from here, he can know what the student has been doing in the system, and the score, the ones he got wrongly, the ones he got rightly, and whatever he needs to know or he needs to know as a teacher, you can have access to it here. So we do that in mass inquiry admission number. Howbeit, you can do mass inquiry by class. So all you need to do is just inquiry by class, select the class. So we are dealing with just 1A. The academic session, the current time, click on start. So there is nobody, we've not had any substantial people doing assessment. We only have one. If not, those information would have appeared here. For someone, you see the information here now. Are we seeing what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Yes.
First of all, we did mass inquiry by class, by admission number.
Admission number.
Secondly, mass inquiry by class. Do
Yes.
it number of assessments that you prepare for that class, you appear here. Then you can go to exam. You can go to exam score, and the system will show you who and who has done that exam and the score that they got from that exam. Now, this thing is not giving me what I want. This thing is not giving me, this is a bug in the system. You look at this bug later. But normally, the system is supposed to show me. Now, note that we prepared that for term 2 and not for term 1. And we can't find it in term 1. Term 2, we go to term 1. Anyway, this one is our own headache. We'll solve this later. But the concept I want you to understand is that when you do math inquiry by class, and you select the class that has assessment already, those assessments will appear here. Then the exam scores, when you click on the exam scores, then each of the students that have done that exam, the admission number will come up, will come forth for you to see, and the scores they obtained in that exam. So this functionality is not working as it should work for now. So that's the bug we will address later. All right, so that brings us to the end of e-learning today. Do we have any questions before we go?
No.
Okay, no question from your side. Well,
But sorry, under the e-learning report, we checked by marks, inquiry by admission number, and by class. What of the life table report?
Okay, just like in every other life table report, when you click on life table report, you can select any of the parameters in e-learning static data, e-learning transaction. You can see any of them, like the assessment details. Assessment details. When you click on load.
Load. Okay.
All the assessment details are already prepared in the system, and you cannot export to Excel. Now, just to mention, you can search for these things under any of these headings. You can narrow it down to what you are looking for using any of these. I think that answers.
Okay.
Samuel, you are good, right? Is he off or is he with us? Samuel?
Yeah, sorry.
You good?
Yeah, sorry. No?
All right, so thank you for today being a part of this training, and we'll continue next week with the movement tracking module.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really enjoyed this e-learning, this e-learning part. Thank you.
So that you will not forget and you watch it.
Yes, like I told you, my system, got stained the screen with ink.